Hello everyone, welcome to Grow Your Future with Luxland. I'm Zar, CEO of Luxland Investments, joined by my co-hosts Jade and Mark. Hello.
Hello.
G'day, how are we?
Happy Valentine's Day everyone.
Yes.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. I'm over here, guys. Got our rose on.
So we've got a
camera.
Valentine's Day special.
Yes, we do.
A special Valentine's Day episode.
Business relationships.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the other relationships, Mark.
Oh, well, we can if you want, but no, we like to talk about a bit of business on here. But I guess let's jump into it. There's no time to waste. You know, why are business relationships important? I guess you guys would know very well.
I think people overlook business relationships when they first get into business, or even when they first. People work in jobs, for example. They don't think about how important the relationships are, and you know, I always compare business to a marriage.
Yep.
Right. Like it's something where you have to work on. It's never perfect. You know, you're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, but you've got to accept that and weather the storms. You've got to go through it together, and you know, the more you go through, the more adversities that you go through in a marriage, for example, and if you can come out the other end still together and in love, the stronger your marriage will end up becoming. And it's the same in business. If you can go through adversities with people who you hold good relationships with, you know, like when a problem arises, you know, you go through it together. You don't just run away. You know, a lot of people do that. A lot of people just run away because they just, as soon as a problem arises, they don't want a part of it. And it's sad because a lot of business relationships are broken, and a lot of my ones have been broken because of that, because of a problem has arose, and no one wants to deal with it with me, and you're just left with putting the pieces together. And you know, but you do get a handful of people that kind of stick by you, and those people, you know, generally will be there, you know, over the years to come, and you know, and are able to enjoy the successes with you.
Yeah. What do you think, Jade?
Yeah, I think I absolutely agree with what Zar just said. I mean, we've lived and breathed it for the last 10 years or so in business, and it's not until you actually are in business where you truly understand the value of business relationships, or any relationship for that matter, and how much you need it. People, I hear a lot of people all the time going, I'm just doing it on my own, I'm doing this on my own. And it's like, you look around you, whatever business or whatever job you're in, there's always a relationship there that you're not holding in high regard.
Yep.
Could be with your colleague. If you don't have a business. If you are in business, it could be your broker. It could be anyone. But I think, like I said, you don't really know the true value of business relationships until you really need them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree there. One thing I've got down here as well this week is the importance of having a great relationship with both your clients and your staff. I find as though, look, I haven't been in a million business relationships, you know, but the ones that I worked, they had their ups and their downs, you know, and I feel as though sometimes, whether it was myself or the staff around me, had a better relationship with the clients than we even did within our own circle. And I find, like, if you can't have a good relationship as a whole to begin with, how else are you supposed to take care of the clients? Or, you know, how do you, even the role reversal, if you don't get along with your clients, how are you supposed to then follow that on to, it's got to be both, doesn't it?
Every business is relationship based. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not in the business of people. You are. It doesn't matter what your business is out there, what industry you're in. You are in the business of people. We are. Day in, day out, and until you master that, you're not really going to scale to true form at the end of the day. We've got various different businesses under our umbrella, and every single one of them, it's so important to keep building and nurturing those relationships, because they are really everything. And staff is just as important as those business to business relationships.
Yeah.
I think instilling that culture from the top, being staff and your team, is really important. You know, because that will project down onto clients.
Yep.
And that will project out to the world, because now we're on social media, everything's so exposed, right? Like, even for me, like I've only been new to social media in the last 12 months, and it's really important that I keep up those relationships that I've had for years prior, because I want people to know that by coming on board, like if you sign with our company, then you're going to get treated in a way where it's just like I treat my team.
Yeah.
So it's a law of attraction. You want that energy to flow down, and too many people don't take it into account, because they've got that short-term mindset where they just think about themselves. Like putting the mindset on where you're just giving rather than taking will mean that you will always build strong relationships. But too many people think of themselves. They put their ego first before the business. And what happens is that those people end up burning bridges, because they're only, they're only worried about themselves. They're selfish, and people don't want to do business with people who are selfish. Like, I know I don't. I've actually, I've gotten rid of business partners before because of it, right? When people are selfish and all they do is take, eventually those people, their time runs out in business, and they lose the opportunity to keep working with us. And for us, we just want to do business with good people, because we're about long-term relationships. Because like Jade said, every business is built on relationships. It doesn't matter if you've got a product that you're selling or it's a service that you're providing. Everybody wants to do good business with good people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anyone that goes, oh, you know what, I want to do business with a bad person. It doesn't make sense, right? But there are so many bad people out there that are willing to rip you off, take what they can from you, and then run. But why? Like, you miss out on literally decades worth of business with that person. So I think, people need to adopt the long-term mindset, and don't take so much. Give a little bit more, and then you will receive so much more in the long run. Like, I've got business relationships from back 15 years ago, right? And people still sometimes disappoint me, but at the same time still impress me to this day. And, like, I've taken on new business partners, or whether it be staff on my team, and they haven't appreciated it. They've just gone, oh, well, you've got this relationship, but I've got someone better or cheaper. It's not about the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really isn't about the money. It's not about that. It's about the relationship that you build in trust, right? The loyalty. And you know what? Like, you want to feed people who do good by you.
Yeah, that's right.
Like if someone said to me, Zah, I can come in so much cheaper than the other guy, and I know things run on numbers, because like anything, we know that property is based on numbers, not emotion, right? But at the same time, there needs to be a little bit of emotion in it when it comes to the relationship, because you want to be able to keep doing those transactions ongoing. Nothing's just one-off. People got to stop thinking about it's just a one-off transaction. No. Build the relationship like you will live forever.
Across the board with both your staff and the clients, yeah?
Everyone.
Absolutely.
In doing all business, right? Like, for example, like, I treat my relationship with Jade, like we're talking about marriage here now, like it is going to last forever, right? So the amount of work I put into it is that I've got the forever mindset. Forget about the long-term mindset.
Yeah,
it's the forever mindset. That's what you've got to do with business. You've got to act like you work for me forever, Mark. That's how I feel, right? So if I have that mindset that you're going to work for me forever, mate, imagine what the relationship's going to be like.
That's right. Yeah.
But imagine if I said, oh, well, in my head, I'm going to fire Mark tomorrow. Man, like, I'm not really even going to care about what I teach you today, because you're gone tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And I think with, it's going back to what you just said before about doing good business with people, you're in it for the long-term game. I'm going to go back a step and talk about doing business with, why you should stop doing business with people, and it has nothing to do with money. So going back to the values and the aligning the values with different people, you can't do business. You just can't do business with everyone. You can't have business relationships with everyone. You can't have personal relationships with everyone because you're just not going to marry up.
And the sooner you accept that, the better off you'll be.
But
I used to think...
People don't.
Well, I was guilty of it,
Yeah.
right? Like, I used to think, I've got to please everyone.
Yep.
I've got to please everyone. Like, every single customer that walks through the store, I've got to please. Every single client that walks through the door, I've got to sign up. I've got to be able to service every single person. Right?
Every business partner is going to work out because
No.
it looks good from the outside, but if the values aren't aligned, you are not meant to be together. And
you know
that's
what?
okay.
Yeah, don't take it personally. Don't get emotionally, invested and get your hopes up
It's a numbers game.
and get heartbroken. You know what I mean? And it's you know what? Like it even comes down to marriage as well. If it's not working, it's not working.
That's right.
Right? Like, yeah, you do all you can to salvage that relationship. But if it's not working, okay, it's not going to work. Accept it. Move on. Like, it's not a bad thing.
Yep.
Right? It's not a bad thing if you
It's always
can't
the
get
way we
along
view
with
it,
someone.
yeah.
I've got a former business partner of mine who, like, we're friends, but we don't get along in a business sense, but we're still friends.
That's
right?
right.
It's not like we hate each other or anything like that. We've just accepted that we can't work together, right? We've got, like Jade said, different values.
Yep.
When you have different values, then how are you supposed to operate? It's not gonna work.
No amount of money will salvage that or change the dynamic. I
Who
think
cares about the money? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like it's about the legacy that you can leave, right? If, let's say, for example, I've got a very long-term mindset, so I think about legacy. I think about generational wealth. I think about what my family can do forever for the test of time, right? And then you're in business with someone who all he thinks about or she thinks about is our annual turnover. How much money are we going to make at the end of the year, right? And that's all they think about. That's so different.
That's right.
Right? We're not going to work together. It's just not going to work. Like,
Yeah.
we may work for about 2, 3, 4 years, but then it gets to a
yeah.
point where we're like, you know what, like, you've got a short-term mindset, you've got a long-term mindset. We can't work together.
Yeah, well, even the big companies of the world are adopting that mindset of long term, and how do we incorporate more? Obviously, it's still numbers based for them. It has to be, but at the same time, they're kind of looking at implementing people into their teams where they bring a lot more value than just a sales rep or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I've heard a lot of bigger corporations now are starting to employ a lot more entrepreneurial type of people that take action rather than just stand there waiting for orders. And
It's not
move
enough,
forward.
Mark.
That's
It's
right.
not enough. Yes, that is correct. They're trying to adopt entrepreneurial mindsets, but that corporate culture, which we call it the corporate mindset, is still has majority vote, right? Where all they do is cut each other off at the knees. They don't give. Oh, I was about to swear. They don't care about their colleagues, right? They don't. They just. They think about themselves.
That's
right. Going back to being selfish, right? And it's actually been tradition to be like that for decades.
Yeah.
Like
You're only as good as your last move, and that's it.
And
Tomorrow's a new day. In
this
that
is the
world.
problem, right? We go to school and we're taught to be competitive. Trample on everyone else. Don't copy anyone's work. Don't collaborate, right? And then what happens is that we then go to college and do the same thing, or uni, right? And then we go out and get a job and we compete with everyone else.
Yep.
And then we get that job and we're meant to trample all over the people around us to get to the top,
Yep.
right? That is basic tradition.
Yep.
And what I don't like about that is it's teaching that selfish mindset, and it's not about building relationships. You're actually building enemies.
Yeah.
You're burning bridges, and you're behind closed doors. It's actually encouraging of making enemies. Like, no one will ever say it, except for Zara, right? But no one will ever say it. But that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Anyone that works in corporate, you ask them, they'll always have an enemy. Someone trying to suppress them, someone trying to push them down, right? But you know what? In my organisation, what happens? I lift everyone up. Everyone gets lifted up.
The only bad experience you'll have in our companies is if you've had a bad day that's, not being caused by the company directly, but, things haven't gone right for you, which is a normal human day-to-day interaction with anything in life. We all have bad days, but
we're all here. We're all here for each other.
It's all about culture. I think business relationship. We come back to this topic of business relationships, right? Culture is everything, and I bang on about it all the time. you know, with everything that we touch, but it is so important to get the culture right. And